I can't stand anything about you. What are you talking about? I only live with my family, so just leave. To my shock, my in-laws decided to kick me out. Charlie, my husband, even had divorce papers ready for me to sign. I've already filled out my part, just sign them. It was something I never imagined, but it turned into an opportunity. I signed the papers immediately when they were handed to me. I'm Rosa, 34 years old, and a stay-at-home wife. I've been married to Charlie for 5 years, and we don't have children. For all these years, it's just been the two of us in our home. After graduating, Charlie started working for a company with awful conditions, where he worked long hours, often from dawn until late at night, leaving him mentally and physically drained. In an effort to help Charlie, I began searching for work I could do from home. At first, I took on data entry tasks and earned the same amount as a part-time job. Later, I taught myself video editing and slowly started landing jobs. I managed to save up a good amount of money. With more savings, I began to invest. My days were filled with learning and making investments to gain experience while continuing my video editing work. Over the years, I made a substantial profit. Despite the risks, it was effective, and I felt comfortable knowing I could work from home and monitor stock prices on my computer. I offered to cover the rent so Charlie wouldn't have to worry about it. At first, he seemed puzzled. No, we're managing fine thanks to my job. What you make from video editing is just extra money, right? I've actually been making quite a bit from my investments and video work. So, you don't need to push yourself to keep working at that terrible company. You could look for something else. Really? Thank you for everything you've done so far. Charlie seemed happy and soon told me he'd quit his job. I was glad too, as it made him feel better, and I hoped it would improve our marriage. But things took an unexpected turn. Hey, can we move in with my parents? Wait, what? You want us to move in with your parents? With my earnings, we can easily live like this, so there's no need to go all the way to your parents' house. No, that's not what I mean. We could rent a room in a new condo and live there together. Charlie handed me a flyer for a newly built tower condo. Are you seriously thinking about living there? I want to support my parents more, and this will help me do that. No, wait a minute, the rent is $5,000, that's way too much. But you've been making money through your investments, right? You can afford it. Yes, I could probably manage, but I didn't plan to live luxuriously. I wanted to save for our future children, and besides, I never expected to live with my in-laws. Charlie should use his earnings to take care of his parents. I was disappointed, feeling like I was being used. Do we really have to live with your parents? Well, they're still healthy, and Teddy has a few more years before retirement. I've been working at that awful company and haven't had time to help them. Please, just do this for me. Charlie pleaded, and I reluctantly agreed. However, it turned out to be one of the worst decisions of my life. Wow, this place is amazing. The view is beautiful. I'm so glad you're both happy, my in-laws said. They were excited about their new life in the tower condo. I'm so proud of you, Charlie. You must be making a lot of money to afford this lifestyle. Yeah. I nudged Charlie with my elbow. He awkwardly explained to his parents that the rent wasn't paid from his earnings. When they heard this, my in-laws were shocked. So it's not from your salary? I replied, it's from Rosa's earnings. They were taken aback, but I was glad Charlie was being honest with them now rather than letting them find out later. At first, my in-laws seemed apologetic, especially to me. I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable, so I told Charlie to reassure them that they shouldn't worry. I had started earning to help Charlie, and it would be nice if my in-laws could enjoy a comfortable life as well, but things soon took a turn for the worse. After hearing about the situation, my in-laws became bolder. I like my pasta a little softer, bring me some beer, and don't forget the mayonnaise. I want this brand of bag, so buy it for me, Rosa. Oh, and I need a golf club. They treated me as if I were a money machine for their personal needs. I'll do my best with the housework, but I can't spoil them. I'm not going to give in to every demand. We have to set limits. I refused their requests, and my in-laws grew more and more disgruntled, complaining to Charlie. Why is she always at home? She says she earns a lot, but I bet she's just gambling. I can't believe she's so proud when she's probably just wasting money. This was what they told Charlie behind my back. Meanwhile, Charlie had switched jobs to one with less pay but fewer hours, allowing him to spend his entire salary on himself. His clothes became fancier, and he indulged in expensive fashion. Since Charlie now had free reign over his salary, My in-laws began asking him why they couldn't live luxuriously too, and why I wasn't buying things for them, but I never agreed to that. If you want to take care of them, why not do it yourself? Now that you're using your salary freely, you can afford to buy them things. I suggested, and Charlie frowned, unable to argue. It was true, but he couldn't afford his own luxuries if he bought things for his parents. That's why he asked me to do it. But since I refused, Charlie became increasingly hostile toward me. You're always stuck in front of the computer, and you don't even wear makeup anymore. You think it's fine because you're at home all the time? If you keep dressing like this, we won't make a good match anymore. Charlie began saying hurtful things every chance he got. My in-laws noticed this and started complaining directly to me. Why can't you cook better? You may be making money, but if you can't do your chores properly, you're not a good wife. Both of my in-laws would tell me this. Naturally, I got fed up and started speaking up. Do you forget that it's thanks to my earnings that you all live like this? Lexi, you're healthy and don't work, but don't do any housework either. Teddy, you quit your job. What would happen if I weren't around? I'm not asking for respect, but I don't deserve to be treated like this. When I said this, my in-laws were speechless, their faces flushed with embarrassment. They couldn't say a word. What I said was undeniably true. After that, they started whispering behind my back to Charlie. When I wasn't in the room, their voices were loud enough for me to overhear them discussing me from the living room. Who does she think she is? She's always mocking us, and it really gets under my skin. Just the other day, she said things that made it clear she was making fun of us. She's changed. She got arrogant just because she made some money through gambling. If she can do that, we should be able to make money too if we study a little and start doing FX. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if she can do it, so can we. Exactly. We should start now. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Investing is not the same as gambling. It's not something you can do successfully with just a little bit of studying. Teddy and Charlie, being employees at a company, should know that. From that point on, my in-laws and husband became hyper-competitive with me. Even at breakfast, they would say things like, I need to check the stock price. I need to do it before anyone else. They'd put their laptops on the table and start checking. I started feeling like I wasn't welcome in this family if they were going to act this way toward me. Then came a shocking revelation. One day, I took a break from everything and went out with a friend to an event for my favorite anime. While I was out, I saw my husband standing in front of a luxury store. He had just come out of the store with another branded product. He really should stop buying these expensive items and start investing instead. As I was standing there, lost in thought, a young woman came out from behind him and threw her arms around him. I froze, panicked, and hid behind a corner with my friend. I pulled out my phone and took photos. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Despite the issues with Charlie, I never expected it to go this far. I had always thought he loved me as his wife, even if things weren't perfect between us, but I was wrong. My husband wasn't with me. He was having an affair with this other woman. I felt something snap inside me. I didn't want to be with a man like that anymore, nor did I want to live with his parents. From that day on, I started searching for a single-room apartment for myself, stopped taking care of my in-laws, and quit doing the housework. Why should I continue? I decided not to, and my in-laws were furious. Charlie was equally upset. One day, out of the blue, they confronted me. What's with your attitude lately? Everything you do or say is just infuriating. You've become too arrogant as a wife. Mom and Dad are right. You're getting carried away. Lexi, his mother, yelled, I hate everything about you. What do you mean by acting like that? Just leave now. To my shock, my in-laws decided to kick me out, and Charlie, in a calm manner, handed me divorce papers to sign. I've already filled out my part, just sign the papers, he said. It wasn't something I wanted, but it was an opportunity. I signed the divorce papers without hesitation. Good, now, get up and leave quickly, Mickey, my father-in-law, said. Fine, I replied, as I began packing my things. No, now that she's out of the house, it's finally ours. Let's go celebrate with an expensive dinner, Mickey shouted, making sure I could hear him. I packed without a care. I'll only take what I need for now. I'll arrange for the rest to be picked up later, I said. My in-laws looked victorious and laughed, urging me to hurry. Go ahead and do it quickly. It was so odd how smug they looked. If I thought about it clearly, they were the ones who would eventually lose, but they were too clueless to see that. Either way, I was ready to show them what consequences really meant. I moved back to my parents' house temporarily. then arranged for the rest of my belongings to be moved out with a moving company. So, now this room is completely ours, Charlie said with a big smile. Oh, by the way, we haven't finished talking about the divorce, I said, placing the evidence of Charlie's affair in front of him, which I had gotten from the detective agency. Charlie was stunned by the photographs. We'll get a divorce, but I'll make sure to get proper alimony for everything you've done, I said firmly. My in-laws were unaware of their son's affair and looked horrified when they saw the photos. No, no way, how do you know about it? You thought I wouldn't find out because I was always at home. You weren't exactly hiding it well, strolling around town with her openly. We'll talk about this through our lawyers, I interrupted. Charlie ignored me, clearly confused. What does she mean by wanting revenge? You're right, my in-laws replied, almost in disbelief. Then Charlie said something that caught me off guard. If I invest $50,000 in margin trading, I could make hundreds of thousands in no time. You're making a huge mistake if you gamble like that, I wanted to advise, but decided to hold back. You make mistakes, you learn, and you eventually understand the practical ways of investing. It's an expensive lesson, but it works. I wished them luck with their new venture, but I was done with them. As I headed for the door, they followed me out, shouting, "Now I want to hear you disrespect me. I'll be more successful than you ever were." I ignored them and walked straight out, returning to my parents' house. Later, through my lawyer, I filed for alimony against Charlie and his mistress. I made it clear that Charlie was at fault and that there would be no division of property. My lawyer said they appeared to be financially stable, and they agreed to pay the alimony in full right away, with no division of property. It seemed they had made some successful investments, but I suspected they hadn't followed through yet, promising to pay me first. I was relieved that I didn't have to pay them anything. The alimony came through quickly, and I decided to invest the money. Thanks to this, I was able to make even more. Saving up over time, I moved into a modest apartment instead of a luxury condo and started living a life of financial independence. Then, to my surprise, Charlie called me, seemingly unaware that I had blocked him. Hello? Help me, I've screwed up big time with margin trading, and now I owe $50,000. I'm completely in debt. This is a disaster. How could you be so reckless with your gambling? You know, for the record, I wasn't gambling. I studied it, calculated everything, and invested carefully. You just can't throw money around and expect to win. Please, please come back. If this keeps going, we'll lose the $5,000 condo we rented. Maybe that's for the best. You can't afford it on your own, and my parents aren't convinced either. They'll just push me into another risky investment. You better stop them, but it's no longer my problem. It's your responsibility to deal with your parents now. Goodbye, I said, ending the call. Later, a mutual friend told me that Charlie's parents really did take another gamble and ended up in even more debt, $33,000 this time. They lost their condo, which was rented under Charlie's name. I couldn't care less. Now, Charlie and his family were drowning in debt. Charlie had to work long hours to pay it off, and his mistress abandoned him. In the end, Charlie was working day and night, just like before. His parents had to get jobs too, to repay their debts. It was exactly what they deserved, and I felt no sympathy for them. Now, they know what real investing is all about, but it doesn't matter, because they'll never be able to afford it again. As for me, I've been making good money from my investments. I've saved up enough to retire early, and from now on, I plan to enjoy life and pursue my hobbies. Why do some men always think they're better than their wives? In my experience, letting your wife succeed is far more rewarding. Well, Charlie proved he was just an idiot who couldn't keep his hands to himself. I'm glad the main character left her husband, and I hope she enjoys her newfound freedom and semi-retirement. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Stay stunned.